It can often be said that there is a thin line between love and hate. Many of us walk this line every day. Friends, family, and co-workers, I can't believe I once liked that guy. Then there are those that are always telling you about the human condition or how you need to stop being so hateful. They are the ones that talk about showing your humanity. Me? I just worry about my condition and that of my family. It's good to have friends, but be realistic. Friends you can only be trusted so far. And in my case, not all family or friends had my back. This was a hard lesson that I learned firsthand. The good thing in all this was, I found out who my real family and friends are. My name is Pace Jensen. I'm 29 years old, ex-football player, and an avid runner. I am married to Amy. She is a hot little mama with the attitude to match. But the best thing in my life is that I'm a father of 3 little boys. Amy and I had been married for about 7 years at the time of our downfall. The reason we had kids so fast and often was I couldn't get enough of my wife. I lived and breathed Amy. That's where I believe was my downfall begun. We took our vows. It was the day after our college graduation. Amy majored in secondary education and I majored in management information systems. Amy landed a job at one of the elite private schools in Dallas, and I worked for Empire Funding. We had a pretty good start out in life. During our marriage, there were ups and downs like most marriages, but nothing major. I think our first fight was when I wanted to buy a 1968 Shelby Cobra. To top it off was a candy apple, red with 2 white stripes down the middle. Unlike some people I know, I could afford a $100,000 car, but I do love classic ones. Anyway, like I said, Amy and I had a great life. We lived pretty close to my family, which I thought was a good thing. My mom and dad were in their 50s, and also had a younger brother named Rob. Rob was 17 and attended the same high school that Amy taught in. In fact, she taught one of his classes. I think Rob was an oops baby because he was 12 years younger than me. Rob and I were as close as you can be to a little brother who is 12 years younger than you. When anything happened or when Rob needed something, I was the one expected to make the sacrifice. That was how my family lived. It was our motto, you need to man up and deal with it. Be the hero, son. Just let your little brother have it. You'll come out better in the long run. My father said that so much, it got to the point where I would just walk away. Another good thing in my life was my best friend, Jeffrey Parks. He was the brother that I wish I had. We had been best buds since the 3rd grade, and if anyone knew how I felt, he did. Jeff was an attorney, and I expected him to cover my back in all legal matters. Anyway, last Monday, when I got home, Amy told me she had taken the boys over to her sister's house. It was 4 doors down. When she told me that, I figured that she wanted some alone time, if you know what I mean, but she said she wanted to tell me something. I didn't think life could get any better, but then Amy said she was pregnant. I wanted to know when the baby was due, so we could start buying things before the baby got here. I think I was as happy as a man could be. Hell, I just hoped this one would be a little girl so I could spoil her to death. But for some reason, Amy was a little out of it and had this faraway look on her face. I asked her what was wrong. Pace, it's not your child. Amy said it so softly I didn't catch it. What's going on, Horn? Why are you so down? Pace, I love you, but I'm not having any more of your kids, said Amy. I was a little taken aback and asked her why. Amy, you always said you wanted a big family, so why the sudden change? Pace, Lord, this is going to be hard. Then Amy started walking around like whatever she's going to say would be life-changing. Amy, I love you no matter what, so just tell me how you feel right now. Just say it. Then she stopped, pulled out her phone, and hit speed dial. "Can you come over here, please?" Whomever she was talking to, it sounded like they knew more about this than I did. "Amy, who was that, and what in the hell is going on?" Amy said, "Just hold on, Pace. I need help getting my words through to you." I asked her who was coming over and what it was that she just couldn't tell me without help. "Hell, if you can't tell your husband, who else in the hell could you tell?" All kinds of things went through my head, none of them good, but what was coming next blew me away. 2 minutes later, the doorbell rang. Amy answered it, and when she came back, she was being followed by my mom, my dad, and my 17-year brother Rob. "Okay, Amy, what the fuck is going on?" "Pace. Shit how I can say this without hurting you," said Amy. Rob just interjected. "Look, Pace, Amy is in love with me. That's what she wants to say. Mom and Dad are here to back us up," said Rob. "Look, bro, shit happens. We didn't mean to fall in love, but we did. The kid she is carrying is mine, and we need you to get on board with this. Amy and I are going to be a family, whether you like it or not." I started laughing like this is some kind of joke, right? It had to be. I said, "Look, Amy, what is that you want to tell me?" No one was laughing. I looked back at Amy. She was looking at her feet. "Amy, please look at me and tell me this is not true." "Tell me you're not this fucking stupid." My dad said, "Son, I know this is hard, but what's done is done. I know you're hurting right now, but Rob is your brother, and so how we have to find a way to pull through this. We know it asking a lot, but sacrifices have to be made." I asked, "My mom, was she a part of this?" She said, "Son, I love both of my boys. I don't want this to tear our family apart. You have to find a way to live with this. We're all family. You have to be the hero in this. You need to find it in your heart to not be angry and do the right thing." I couldn't believe they were asking me to just set aside my life for a snot-nosed little prick because I was older. At that moment, I mean the exact moment, I started hating them all. The fine line between love and had been broken. The question is, how much hate could I man have toward my family? The very family that was betraying me from all sides, my wife, brother, and what kind of parent would go along with this travesty? Little did I know it was only going to get worse. I couldn't stand it anymore. I turned and walked out with Amy and Mom in tow. Amy was being pulled back by Rob, and my dad was called my mom. I walked the 4 houses down to get my kids. I was met at her sister's house by Deputy Sheriff. For a moment, I thought Amy's sister Rachel was in on it too, but she looked as shocked as I did. The Deputy Sheriff told me that I was forbidden from seeing my kids till the courts could decide custody. I looked back, and Amy, the hate was growing more and more as each second passed. I asked the sheriff if I was allowed back in my own house. He asked whose name was on mortgage. I said mine and mine alone. Since there wasn't any order barring me from my house, I turned to go home. As I walked past my dad, he grabbed my arm. "Pace, listen. Son, please don't do anything you'll regret later," said my dad. "We all need to sit down and talk this out like adults." I looked at him and said, "Don't you ever call me fucking son again." "No. Get your fucking hand off me, or you'll live to regret it." "Now leave me alone, all you backstabbing bitches." I looked at Amy and told her, "If I were you, I'd get a lawyer and a good one. Enjoy the kids while you can whore. Now get the fuck off my property, slut, and take these assholes with you." Before I could take another step, Rob took a shot at me. He caught me on the right side of my face. Before I could swing back, my dad grabbed me and Rob hit me again. I was lucky that Rob hits like a bitch, otherwise I would have been hurt. The sheriff jumped off the porch, ran, and tackled Rob. I broke free from my dad and punched him in the mouth. He fell to the ground, and the look on his face was utter shock. He would never believe that Pace, the sensible child, would get so pissed. When the fight was over, Rob and his dad were arrested for assault, but little did I know the best was yet to come. A couple of days later, I was called by the assistant district attorney and asked to give a statement. While giving my statement, I just happened to mention that it all started because my 29-year-old wife of 7 years was pregnant by 17-year-old brother. I also told the assistant district attorney that he was starting the 12th grade at the same school Amy taught in. The assistant district attorney seemed to take some interest in that tiny bit of information. 2 days later, I went to see the one person whom I could depend on, Jeffrey Parks, attorney at law. I arrived at his office in good spirits. It turned out to be another trip in the betrayal on the Pace-Jensen freeway. While waiting for him to finish, he walked out with his new client. Amy looked over, saw me, and smirked. I looked at Jeff and said, "Really, Jeff, you would do this to me?" Jeffrey Parks turned and walked away. That's how everything was set up so fast. Jeff was their inside man. He knew how I would react and cut me off at the knees. I never thought he would do something like this. I will always wonder why he chose to take her chase. But then you know what? Who gives a fuck about his reasons? Because once he said yes, he no longer existed to me. I had to laugh again, but there was a difference. It was just another reason to keep on crossing the line. I was becoming a different person. Hate can do that to you. I went to a lawyer of a different kind, Stevie crossed. Stevie was known as the scum of the earth. His motto was, if you got the money, go for it. He was about to close his office when I found him. I asked him if he wanted a case that would soon have national exposure. He saw dollar signs, unlocked his door, and we went in. I wrote him a check for $10,000. I told him he would have to bail me out sooner or later. He told me he couldn't be a party to anything illegal. I told him what I had planned. He laughed so hard he spit his gum out. I went home. When I got there, a deputy sitting in the driveway. He stepped out of his car and asked who I was. I showed him my identification. He gave me an envelope and told me, "You've been served." I went into the house and threw the papers in the trash. I didn't even look at them. Next, I made a few calls, got something to eat, and went to bed. Tomorrow would be a new day. After a good night's sleep, I brushed my teeth, used some mouthwash, and combed my hair. After all, I had to look my best. As soon as I stepped out the door to get the newspaper, blam, they were on me. "Mr. Jensen, is it true your wife is a teacher and is pregnant by your underage brother?" asked one reporter. Then another asked what school she teaches at. Another asked why she is still on the streets. I said, "I don't know, you have to, as the assistant district attorney," that one. From that moment, life became hell for everyone involved in this sad case. Reporters were staked outside Amy's school, my parents' house, Jeff's office, and Amy's sister's house. Jeff loved publicity, but not this kind. When Amy and my former parents first approached Jeff, he was under the impression that Rob was at least 18, not 17. The next thing that pissed off Jeff even more was when his office was picketed by a family rights advocates group. One of the protesters threw cow's piss on him. The next morning, I appeared on Nancy Grace. She called Amy everything but a child of God. If any of you watch Nancy Grace's TV show, you know once she gets hold of a story, she's like a dog with a bone. From the first moment till the end of the story, Nancy and her reports were all over Amy and her merry band of fuck-ups. Hello everybody. A child molester is running free on our streets and pregnant by a young, impressionable young man. And where is the district attorney? Yelled Nancy. I recorded the show. I looked rather dapper if I say so myself. but the camera does add £10. 2 days later, Amy was arrested for sex with a minor, breaking the public trust and our word. Rob was removed from my parents' custody and went to a juvenile facility. Eventually, he and my parents learned he had to stay there until he turned 18. A month later, I was sitting in the courtroom opposite of Amy and my ex-family. She was being represented by the asshole that used to be my friend. The only one whom I felt sorry for was my mom. She just sat there with a sad look. It was heartbreaking, but then so is life. Over the last month, Amy and Mrs. Jensen called me hundreds of times, asking if I would sit down and talk to them before it got too far. I asked Amy one question: "Did you sit and talk to me before you fucked my brother?" She didn't answer, so there was no need to talk. After Amy was arrested, my kids were returned to me. In a quick custody hearing, the judge awarded me full custody, child support, and the home that was in my name already. As the criminal trial approached, I was set to testify. I wanted to make sure that Hor served a long time in prison, but it wasn't to be. Amy never went to trial. She took a plea bargain and got 3.5 years. In her statement at sentencing, she begged for my forgiveness. I almost felt sorry for her. Her life was in ruins. Her teaching career was over, and worse or best of all, she would have to register as a sex offender for the rest of her life. It's been 4 years since then. I took the kids and moved 2,000 miles away. We are a 7-member family now, my 3 sons and Amy's 2 little girls. We're like a smaller version of the Brady Bunch. I know the crowd are going to call me a wimp. And you know what? They would be fucking wrong. Do you think I'm stupid enough to stay with any whore that would fuck my ex-little brother? No. What do you think about this story? Share your thoughts down in the comments section. Make sure to subscribe to WTF Media for more stories. I upload real-life stories daily on my channel, so make sure to subscribe to it.